Android tutorial. So here today my topic of discussion is data binding in Android. So we will try to understand what is data binding, and I will also teach you how to integrate data binding in Android in your personal app. So I have my sample project, which is my cool app. So I'm gonna integrate data binding in this project. Okay, so let's follow. So before that, so what is this data binding and why do we use data binding? You can also follow my blog and read my post, because I have explained in detail about what are the steps and what is data binding. Okay, so data binding is actually a technique or pattern to connect layout to the activity. Okay, so actually we have a layout and we have an activity. Actually, the main activity is inflating this layout. Set content view is this layout, right? Activity main, this layout. So actually data binding is also a technique to inflate or connect this layout. Okay, so but why do we use data binding to inflate the layout? Because actually data binding will help you to avoid extra overhead, because as you can see here, before usually we used to use find viewer id to get the reference of the view each time. Okay, because each time you view, for each view that you have generated, you have a id, the particular id of reference, that is uh, to get the reference on underline view. Okay, so this id, I use this id to get the reference of that view, and I can change that. I can inflate that view in different ways. For example, I can change the color of this view. I can make listeners, I can attach the listeners to this view, and perform. So on each click, on each click listener, like I can say, do perform some action. So that's why data binding will help you to get the reference easily without creating any extra overhead. Okay, so that is the basic idea of data binding. Okay, so how do we use data binding? So to use data binding, first you have to go to your build Gradle project level app, because we have a project level and module level. So we have to go to the module level build Gradle script file. Then we have to enable data binding here. Okay, so data, okay, enable data binding. So binding enabled equals to true. Okay, I would like to you to do this, to enable data binding in your Gradle script in your module level, app level actually, and then you sync now. Okay, hope yeah, everything is fine. So then our next step is to add the layout tag to your layout XML file. So I have to do some modification here, because right now our view group is a constraint layout. So I would like to change it to layout, normal layout. Then I have to create another view group, that is our constraint layout, match parent. Okay, so here, okay, I would like to remove this one, and I have to write the end tag here. Okay, okay, cool, that's working fine. Then I have to remove this one, because we don't need width and height for this layout. And yeah, that's it guys, so we are good to go. Then yeah, this is the second step. So now I would like to call a data binding. Okay, so now the third step is, in your activity we create the data binding object. Okay, so let's create a data binding object here. Okay, let init var binding. So it's your activity activity main binding. Okay, so this is the data binding, so which will be initialized here. So we are going to initialize the data binding here. So and we have to also remove this set content view, because actually we are using this binding to bind the layout. Okay, to connect the view, I mean the layout. So is the binding utils, no, sorry. Okay, we use the data, we import this library, data binding utils dot set content view. Okay, these are the layout dot activity main. Okay, so now we are not using the classical set content part, but we are using data binding to set the content view. Okay, so to attach the view and get the reference. Okay, so now it will be much easier. So I will try to make a simple modification, attach a data binding here to this click to this button, floating action button, that is I. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna, yeah, I'm gonna get the reference, use the data binder to get the reference and make some action. Okay, so how can we do that? So we can do it simply by binding dot floating action button dot, okay, you see, on click listener. So what I'm gonna do is toast a message, clicked floating action info button data binding. Okay, and toast dot length long and show this. Okay, hope this will be working fine. Let me remove this one. Yeah, and then yeah, I think we are good to go. Then finally nothing much more. So yeah, that's it. So let's see if it works. Yeah, our app is working. Okay, if you see, I click folding action info button and with the data binding. So this is the way how it works, you know, the data binding. And another thing is, like as I told you before, and we are getting the reference here, generate button, using the another library which is called synthetic. Okay, Kotlin synthetic library. Okay, we can also do it in these two ways. One is from the data binding, this one data binding to get the reference, and the second one we are using Kotlin synthetic library. I explained you this guys when I created a new project in my previous, my first one of the first lectures. Okay, so the idea is like we have to install this library, like install the plugin. Okay, actually if I will explain it also much better here right now. As you can see here, we have installed a plugin called Kotlin Android extension plugin, and this plugin is actually helping us to um, directly get the reference, okay, without using find view by id. You know, if you see here, we are getting a synthetic library to get the get the reference automatically from the activity. Okay, so dot start, that means we are getting all the reference id here. Okay, so I would suggest you to use the data binding way, because it will reduce the overhead. I hope you guys like my lecture. And yeah, okay, finally, yeah, you can also follow my blog post. And finally, okay, I will also actually teach you how to push this modification in my GitHub. So actually here in our local changes, we have made 3 changes. So I'm gonna push this in the repository that we created, that our commit message will be data binding implementation. Okay, so I'm gonna push these 3 changes here. Okay, commit. Okay, then I'm gonna push version control, we git, we have to push it. Okay, so I'm gonna push it. Okay, as you can see, push one commit to the origin master. As you can see in the log, we will see that recently we have pushed data binding implementation, and we have in the origin branch. Okay, we pushed it in the origin branch. Okay, so that's it. We are good to go, and we will be talking more important topics in the upcoming lectures. So hope you will like it. So guys, please subscribe and follow me, and catch you later in my next Android tutorial. Thank you.